So Christy, you've been in the public school system, you've been in a private Christian school, you've done the classical Christian model through a homeschool model, and then now you're the principal of the Palm Beach Christian Academy, and we're a classical Christian school. So tell me a little bit about classical Christian education, why it's different specifically from public schools and Christian schools. We'll maybe talk about homeschool another day, but yeah, give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so one thing that I love about classical Christian education is, again, the worldview that the children are given, but it's through a concept of how do I operate in the whole world, and how does God want me to operate within that world. So instead of a very segmented, choppy education, they're getting a very holistic education from the beginning of time all the way through modern times, and not just how does my world look in the United States, but how does it look throughout the entire world?
Sure.
So again, that big picture and how I fit into that big picture.
Okay.
Now the way that that's done is very different than the public school system and traditional Christian schools. So in the public school system, we know that the main goal is academic success.
Right. Yeah, no one would argue that academic success is not one of the goals.
Sure,
right.
That's great and wonderful, and they do the best that they can to impart that academic wisdom on the children in their care. Traditional Christian schools, now of course I'm not talking about all Christian schools, this is a blanket statement, but generally speaking, Christian schools, their main goal is also academic success, but where they're different is that they want to teach academics through a biblical worldview.
Right.
And so children are being taught these academic subjects through truth, through the truth that comes from Scripture, which is a great start.
Right.
But the difference between that and the Christian classical model is that that is not the goal of Christian classical school. It's not academics.
Right.
Little different, right?
A little bit different.
So the goal here in the classical education model, for the Christian classical education model, is the virtues of the children who are in our care.
Right.
Teaching them about the truth of who God is and who they are in the eyes of God, and how they are to be reacting to the world around them.
Sure.
To be creating cultural leaders that know and serve the Lord and are equipped to go out into the world and defend their faith.
Right.
That's the goal. Now, you know that Palm Beach Christian Academy is the school ministry of Family Church.
Right.
And you know Family Church's mission statement.
Yeah, it's helping families discover and pursue God's design for their life.
Exactly. And so that's why I believe that the classical Christian model just blends so beautifully with that mission-mindedness. So again, our goal is not the academics. Our goal is the virtue of the children in our care.
Absolutely.
And the spiritual growth of the children in our care. Now, the way that we teach that is through the academics.
Right.
So, again, in the Christian school system, traditional Christian school system, the goal is academics through a biblical worldview.
Mm-hmm.
Christian classical, the goal is the integrity of the child and their spiritual growth.
Okay.
And the means to do that is throughout education.
I understand that.
Does that make sense? It's a slight difference, but it's
No.
actually pretty profound.
I totally understand what you're saying. So one is it's transfer of information. Academic success comes first through the transfer of information. Mm-hmm. Character formation kind of follows after that, mm-hmm. maybe as a byproduct.
And they're being taught truth.
And they're being taught truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other model, the classical Christian model, spiritual formation, character formation is the main goal.
Yes, exactly.
And Christ is at the center of the subjects, and then the academic success is a byproduct of that.
Exactly, and it's interesting that you said the academic success, because what we're finding is that children who actually go through this model, the Christian classical model, because they're being taught to be thoughtful, to be mindful. They're being taught how to debate. They're being taught how to defend their faith.
Right.
All those skills transfer over to academic success, and we're actually seeing the children who come out of this model have higher SAT scores and
right.
PSAT scores than the other models of education. But again, that's a byproduct of the goal.
Right.
It's not the goal.
It's not the goal.
Mm-hmm.